this is Chuck Mayer welcoming you to the Sunday update of the weekly update. We're running a couple of days behind this week, but we're back on track. So come into the store, follow me, and let me show you some new things that have come in and are happening. One of the first things I want to show you is this really cool used tank. Now, you know Fishy Business tries to stock used tanks whenever we can when we know they're in really good shape and they have something different to offer. Well, this one is very, very different. I don't expect it'll be with us for a long time, but this is a bullnose tank. This was a very, very expensive tank when it was first set up. It has an opening underneath where it has holes for plumbing, so everything can be put underneath. It's a really, really cool tank to come off any arbitrary wall in your home or office. It's a really, really cool tank that's viewed from three sides. So if you're in the market for something a little offbeat or a little different, the bullnose tank might be for you. Now follow me. Scott got in some really cool Asian decorations this week, so I'd like you to look at some of those. We've actually pulled them aside of our normal decorations because if you really want to do a themed tank and get a really cool feel, these are some fantastic resin decorations that really, really will give you a kind of an Asian foresty type feel. So these are some new decorations that came in. We don't usually have these particular ones in stock, but they're really, really cool. Now coming with me, Guy's done two really cool elaborate rock designs. One with aqua rocher, which is fantastic rock that comes from France, and this right here, which are the life rock shapes that come from Carib Sea. You can see the differences, but you can really do a lot of sculptural detail in your tank. These are great right now if you want a new tank design or something kind of like that, but really, really cool. Now, let's go look at some fish. Okay, so the reason why we're all here to see what new fish came in. So if you'll follow me, we'll start with freshwater and go over a few of the cool fish that came in this week. Bolivian rams. Very cool cichlid, very cool dwarf cichlid that came in this week. These will go with almost any community type tetra. They get a little bit bigger body. They're really cool shapes and cool colors. They're doing absolutely fantastic. You can keep them in a neutral pH. They'll kind of school together and form their own group. Fantastic if you want something a little bit different that is more of the cichlid side of things, but they can go with tetras in a community tank. Right over here we have peacock bass. We get asked about these fish all the time. We don't have them all the time. They grow into absolutely beautiful fish. They are highly aggressive. They do typically need to be kept with other fish that are extremely aggressive, more along the South American type fish, but we have them. We have some small ones for a change, and they're doing great. Right over here, I have a Geophagus balzani that just came in. This is a fantastic fish too. Now this is a cichlid that gets very, very large, but it's a gentle giant. It'll move around gravel and things like that. Very common for it to, they're called earth movers, but it can go in with a lot of smaller fish too, like your tetras or barbs and things like that. Even though it gets large and kind of menacing to look at, it's a great fish if you want something larger to offset a smaller schooling fish. Now, one of the cool things that we have in this week that we very rarely get are archer fish. These are freshwater archer fish. Now, I don't know if you've ever looked up videos of them, but they are a fish that lives in the Amazon that literally shoots water out to hit the prey off of branches and things like that to knock it in the water and eat it. Now, while you might not be able to replicate that so well in your home aquarium, it is really cool. They stay kind of toward the surface on the upper part, and they're just a really cool, different type of fish to have. So, also, I got in a lot of clown loaches. They're at a great size and a great price. These came in looking like studs. Lots of color on these. Great bottom dwelling fish to add that orange and black or red and black type look to it. They will school together. They very long lived, very hardy. So in any type of situation where you want a bottom feeding fish or something like that, clown loach may be one of the most perfect fish for you. They'll go in a lot of different tanks. Now, though we mention them fairly regularly, anytime I've got a truly nice group, pay attention to the really cool angelfish that are in this week. Some of the variances in colors are really, really nice. We'll only stock tank raised angelfish, which is why sometimes we have them, sometimes we don't. But these are doing absolutely fantastic. Sold a bunch of them yesterday, but angelfish look great. I have all sizes right now. Now, coming over here to the cichlids. I can't remember when we had these, but I've got Mayan red terror tip. This is a beautiful South American cichlid. If you've got an aggressive tank of Oscars and things like that, larger bodied fish, these will go with them. They're very aggressive, but they stay out and they get very, very beautiful. So very, very cool cichlid. And speaking of Oscars, let me show you this real quick. We got in a lot of cool trade-ins yesterday, one of which was this beautiful red Oscar up here. Is at a really good size. If you've got a large tank and you want some statement making fish, this Oscar would be really good. Also, this green Severum might be good. So really fantastic there. Now, if you'll come back, I want to show you a beautiful set of fish. We had a customer bring in some discus. I did a quick YouTube video on it last week, but now that they're very relaxed and they're in the tank, I want to show you what they look like. And these are it. These are some jumbo show discus. They've got fantastic color, they're eating great, the fins look wonderful, they've got good size on them, so if you have a show tank, larger tank, and you want to really make a beautiful statement, you can't do better than a discus. Right over here, and it's the last time I'll mention it, we have the last of our large assorted peacocks. I think Kevin added one or two to the bunch this week. But this is what we have left, and again, as I've mentioned the last couple of weeks, these are phenomenally covered show peacocks at a very, very good price. So if you want to make your African cichlid tank pop, this is exactly the way to do it. Now, last on the freshwater list, beautiful large Sarasa Riuncas came in. So if you've got a fairly large size goldfish tank that you can let fish grow really large, this would be a great way. And if you've got a pond, we got in all these new butterfly koi. They're not very expensive and they have fantastic color. As you can see, that's the freshwater for this week. Now we'll go to saltwater. Okay, so on saltwater. I want to start with corals this week because Guy got an absolutely phenomenal selection of zoanthids. I don't know that we've ever had this many zoanthid cuttings, but we have a ton of frags right now. Very reasonably priced in just about every different color morph you can think of. Rows of them in here, rows of them back here. Some of the new corals that have come in this week, the Vulcan Blood Zoa, a lot of really, really cool Monis, a lot of cool chalices came in this week. Very, very nice coral selection right now. So get on down and check those out. Right here, Queen Angel that came in this week. Absolutely phenomenal fish. Not very reef safe, but if you've got a show tank where you've just got pretty saltwater fish, maybe in an invertebrate tank, not shy at all, the Queen Angel is perfect. Right through here, the French Angel and Naso Tang that came in, the absolutely beautiful golden heart trigger. This is only the second one of these I've ever had. Not a cheap trigger fish, but an absolutely gorgeous trigger fish. Right through here, you'll see gorgeous Naso Tang, Annularis Angel. Through here, I have gladiator clownfish. I have a gladiator clownfish pair. These are the first gladiator clowns that I've gotten in so far. I don't know that it's that new of a strain. We just haven't had them before, so these are gorgeous. I also have swimming in here somewhere the king angelfish or the passer angelfish. This is a beautiful, extremely hardy angelfish that comes from the Sea of Cortez off the Baja Peninsula out in off of California. It is a very dominating fish. It's very much like a purple tang as far as its mannerisms. It tends to run the tank. And this is a very young one. So if you have an established tank of a lot of different fish and want something that might go in and fend for itself and then grow into something extremely beautiful, Passer Angel might be the one for you. Coming through here, these are my two favorite tanks in the store. Why? Because they're full, Gracie's got us full of little saltwater fish that are very young. And that's when I like to put them in a tank. You can always buy big fish. The big fish that have been in the wild a long time tend to have a harder time adjusting to an aquarium lifestyle. Whereas if you start really small, you can get A, more fish in your tank, B, you tend to get fish that adapt much quicker to whatever type of environment you have, whether it's a reef or whether it's just a regular saltwater tank. Here we have the yellow-bellied blue tang, baby foxface, baby sailfin tang, a melanurus wrasse, the various clowns, a clown tang. In this tank, we have a harlequin tusk, a very young harlequin tusk, a teeny little emperor angel. It's a mini tang, which is one of my favorites. It's a Tinakitas type of tang, which it has a kind of a V-shaped mouth that goes along the rocks. It's not, I wouldn't sell it for eating hair algae necessarily, but it does eat algae off the rocks. And if you don't have a problem situation, you'll actually notice its benefit having been in your tank. There's a rusty angel in here, a Scopus tang, and that's just in these two small tanks. So come with me, let's go to the back and look at a few more things. Right here we have one of the most peaceful wrasses. This is Royal Fairy Wrasse, Celebrius rubriventralis. Very peaceful wrasse, perfect for a reef tank. Over here, we have a plethora of cardinal fish. I often get asked about schooling fish. A lot of people ask about green chromis and things like that, but really, some of the best fish to put in a schooling type situation are the cardinal fish. As you can see, even in this tank, with all this tank space, they will huddle together. They're not very afraid of things, so they kind of stay out. Individually, they're not as colorful as a lot of the other saltwater fish. In mass, in a big group, they look phenomenal because they give a very natural display to the aquarium that you would find if you were diving or out in the wild. So if you've got a little bit of room in your tank, they don't take up a lot of space, they don't get too terribly big, but the various cardinal fish, whether it's the bangy eye cardinals, the pajama cardinals, these are really, really cool fish to put in a school. Now, we got something this week that I can't believe nobody's bought, and we only have, I think, 2 or 3 of them left. But we got these really thick Hawaiian feather dusters that have gorgeous plumes. I've got these 2, and they actually have a really pretty color on them, which usually the feather dusters that we get, the Hawaiian feather dusters, will be kind of a brown and white stripe. But these actually have a yellow tint to them. Looks like I have 2, maybe 3 at the most. A bunch of firefish huddling behind them. But these are great for a reef tank. They're not super long-lived, but they're not super expensive either. And they make a great statement when you're looking at the aquarium to have this worm coming in and out. Right behind me on the other side, I got in a ton of emerald crabs. These are great for eating Valonia or bubble algae. They are very peaceful. They don't get very big. They're the best, I think, of just common algae-eating invertebrates. I like them much better than hermit crabs. They tend to fend for themselves. They tend to be longer-lived, so these are fantastic. And I also got some very small brittle starfish this week. Really cool, really pretty starfish. These aren't very expensive either. These are great bottom feeders. Sometimes they can get a little large and need to be moved around, but brittle stars are pretty cool. And if you want something that everybody seems to think is an octopus when they look in your tank, brittle stars are really cool. So that's a quick overview of where we are on Sunday at Fishy Business. There's lots more in here, obviously. We've got 5,000 square feet of fish. So please come see us. I'll see you on Wednesday again for the weekly update coming this week with some more surprises your way. You guys have a great week. I'm Chuck Mayer.